I care about right now. I've been getting busy. I'm outside. I've been leading an example in a great way. You heard I've been.
Yo, Jimmy.
I break that nigga 30 minutes. They don't really know who Nas is. If he, son,
No, but he knows.
my son, my son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck here.
I actually reached out to Nas to actually
Whoa.
I'm doing my chicken head right now because I really want him to get on this record.
Like, if it was like Jim Jones, imagine putting a pen to paper to write about him. He was so nice. He was so nice about him. How did you do that?
This ain't no classic rap beef with two sides going bar for bar.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Oh no, oh no.
This is Jim holding a 20-year-old grudge that Nas already buried a long time ago. It all started in the early 2000s, when Dipset was sneak dissing Nas on mixtapes. Back then, it was just lyrical shots, but Nas stayed quiet, didn't even flinch.
I'm not anxious to hear the Jim Jones diss record.
Now fast forward, an old clip just popped up online where Nas basically clowned Jim, saying he wasn't even worth wasting breath on. That moment alone should have been the mic drop. Case closed. But nah, Jim stayed mad, still fuming years later like this happened yesterday. He even once said he'd slap Nas.
So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I gotta show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
And now he's lashing out at anyone who dares challenge him when he says he's more relevant or better than Nas. The nerve. Once Jim started saying he was ready to pull up on Nas, the internet went crazy. Fans were roasting him left and right, calling him out for acting like an old-school rapper chasing clout in 2025. People said he was desperate, washed up, and just using Nas's name to stay in headlines, and they're not holding back. And while Jim keeps talking tough, Nas is out here unbothered. He's not responding, not entertaining the nonsense, just chilling while Jim burns himself out.
Now it's just like I'm where I'm at. I'm at the apex of what I do. You heard? So I'm talking about currently. You heard? Currently, nobody from my era really want to get busy or go and get into the booth with me right now, currently. This is a fact, Jack. You heard? If not, they would have stood up a long time ago and holler at me, you dig?
Oh, and get this. On the Bag Fuel podcast, Jim actually said that he's the reason Nas went viral again, claiming that nothing Nas has done since Ether ever hit that hard. Then Jim took things up a notch, saying that none of the rappers from his era got the guts to face him in the booth. He called him scared and then doubled down, claiming he's the best out of all of them from that generation. But here's where it got extra messy. Jim pulled out stacks of cash like he was ready to make a bet and said Nas, or anybody else, could pull up and settle it face to face.
Right now, any one of you
the
niggas,
real
you heard?
person.
Right now. And it ain't a money thing, but this is here, you heard? If you want to get busy, is the money on the line. Any one of y'all from my era, care about right now. I've been getting busy.
He really thought this was his moment to shine, but it just turned into a whole circus.
Recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
Yeah, that's my young boy.
big hits.
He's wild.
Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying? Nas is like a god.
In my era too. I mean,
So
well,
to be compared,
yeah, let me
that young kid out.
he was young and we loved that he loved Jim Jones. I want you to break it down.
Let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I gotta show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What I'm trying to tell you is
I want to go there.
Hold on.
I want to go down the line now because now we going down the line. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
let's go statistically.
It feels great.
No, but I want to go statistically because when people be like,
I feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
And forget about the numbers. There's nothing that could. there's never is me. We putting me up against anybody. I'm taking me every time. Every time.
Supposed to. Okay,
Every
but
time, in all categories.
Let me say something though, Jim.
In every category,
Jim,
I get busy.
And honestly, no one's biting. They're just watching Jim go off the rails and looking kind of desperate while doing it. If you're wondering how all this drama started, it really blew up earlier this month on the Joe and Jada podcast. Jim started talking about how his opinion on Nas changed after he stepped into the rap game. Then Fat Joe brought up how some kid on Instagram compared him to Nas.
Can I ask you a question, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
You smoke, right?
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit. Well, as far as let's get this right. I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when you talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that.
But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit of run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
Ain't no shame in that. There a lot of folks came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear. And we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that. Like, I don't.
Man, go ahead on with that, Jim.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm being honest. You ask me, I'm being a fan. I'm telling you, the movie Belly was fire, but after that, he kind of lost me. I think we was way too much into the game.
And Jim snapped. He said folks should go look at the Billboard numbers, and that's why he'll always choose himself over anybody, no matter who the comparison is. Bold move. But here's the twist. That Billboard flex? Completely off. Billboard actually came through with the receipts. Jim, as a solo artist, only has 2 Hot 100 songs, and just 1 made the top 10. Meanwhile, Nas, he's sitting on 27 Hot 100 entries, 2 top 10s, and when it comes to albums, it gets worse.
You know how this goes. You ever heard of a Kofi list?
Yeah.
Yo, go back into your history and find out what happened between us and him. You dig? And I'm not trying to repeat history, but don't play with us when it comes to that, bro. We already went wild on them boys. You heard? We the ones that went wild on them boys, you heard?
Jim's got 3 projects that touched the Billboard 200, while Nas has 27 charted albums, with 6 cracking the top 10. That fact check exposed everything. Jim's whole "I'm the best" speech fell flat, and the internet roasted him for it. But instead of backing down, Jim kept going and brought the drama over to Nightcap with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson, where he started off giving Nas some credit. Jim gave Nas a little credit for being an early influence, but he quickly flipped it and questioned how long that impact actually lasted.
Look, I'm put it to you like this, Jim. Hey, bro, you been in this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah,
y'all
but look
ain't
how you
effing with
dress.
Nas.
Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. The
But
things
I-
that we listen to,
I can be in the church house. You can't F with Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, I know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas.
Things got spicy when Shannon Sharpe straight up asked him if he was sober when he said he's a better rapper than Nas, and Jim snapped. He doubled down hard, saying not only is he better, but also more influential than Nas. Wild.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than
It don't
Nas.
matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Nobody,
Ain't all in your,
ain't
all in
nobody
your
from
film.
Dipset gonna take
Shannon,
you
that's
over
your-
Nas.
that's
Nobody
your
from the
truth.
Diplomats
That's
but
your-
you.
That's
Hey,
your
I got a
truth.
question.
Nas stick up for himself and meet me in a booth for something if we want to do something historical.
He
Other than that, ain't nobody
Nas
talk
say he
about
don't
it.
do that no more. Nas say he don't do that.
Because he got $100 million. He's a very wealthy man. You heard he's a very smart
Hey,
businessman. He
I
called a
got
couple business licks.
hold on.
Jada
I'm
been
rapping. I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will
we
run
not
circles
denying
around
that.
Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right
Nas
now.
got the game. Nas
Right
retired.
now, I will run.
Put his
I will
microphone
run.
up. Let me take my mic off.
I will
Give me a
run
mic.
Saturn around Nas right now rapping. Everybody knows.
Then Jim started bringing up old drama from the early 2000s, reminding folks about Dipset's short-lived beef with Nas. He said, "We the ones that went wild on them boys," pointing to their 2003 track, "I Really Mean It." Like that was proof they had the upper hand. But hold up, Shannon wasn't letting that slide. He clapped back, saying Nas lyrically outclasses Jim, no question. And still, Jim wouldn't budge. He kept pressing. challenging Nas to meet him in the booth to settle it for real, like he was ready for a rap duel right there. Then Jim tried to chill things down and told Shannon he wasn't mad, but it didn't last long. Tension spiked again when Jim challenged Shannon to a workout battle in the gym, and even accused Shannon and Ocho of inviting him on the show just to chase views.
Let's get this right. I'm not mad. It's about the sportsmanship of the game. People know I'm a very aggressive person, and I seem to get misconstrued when I'm talking my shit. I'm just talking my shit, you heard? Let me talk my shit because I am on the field. If anybody got a problem with that, they can meet me on the field. That is the booth. Anybody from that era. I can sing more Nas records than you right now. So you are capping. You are capping. That's what you're doing.
First of all, bro,
you are
I'm about to be
capping.
50.
I'm a bigger Nas fan than you are. You are capping.
First of all,
I'm
57. I don't be singing no rap. I don't be singing no rap.
You see what I'm saying, Ocho? He don't even know about rap. He just doing this for the views to get Jim Jones on there to get him hot. I understand.
That's when everything exploded into a full-blown meltdown. Fans were dragging Jim all over social media, calling it a sad look. And Shannon, he didn't hold back either, saying Jim needs their podcast way more than they ever needed him. But Jim still wasn't done. He jumped on Instagram and challenged Shannon again to face him in the gym. He posted a workout video and dropped this in the caption, "Somebody tell Shannon Sharpe, don't start ducking this challenge now. You gonna talk like a podcaster or you gonna walk what you talk? 'Cause my sneakers tied. You already challenged me in front of the world. Might as well finish the job, champ." That's what Jim was shouting, aiming it at Ocho Cinco. He said Chad didn't want to throw down in public, so let's take it private. Jim kept pushing, saying, "I know his rep as an athlete is on the line. Long as you the witness, we don't duck no challenges. Size don't matter where I'm from." Then he dropped this, "Run it. Young David to all Goliaths."
You don't
Get
know
him
no
hot.
Nas lyrics. You don't know Nas
You better
lyrics.
check the
You don't
podcast
know
space.
no
Hey,
Nas lyrics.
now you better talk.
Sing
check.
16.
Hey,
Sing
this the
a
biggest
Nas
podcast you ever been
Name
on.
one Nas record.
This the biggest podcast you ever been on.
Do you know
the
what
podcast
you know
you been
Nas-
on bigger than this one?
Hold on. We off
I'm
topic.
not a podcaster.
No,
Hold
hold on.
This is what I do.
Joe.
You see
Name
you
a
in your
podcast you been on
feelings? You
bigger
see in
than
your
this one.
feelings?
When you get big, you get invited to Club Shay Shay.
This is what I do.
Nas get invited to Club Shay Shay. Jadakiss get invited to Club Shay Shay. You
Hey,
not on
yo.
that level yet, bro.
We
Slow
all-
down.
It's for little young white
Hello?
girls. Chill out.
We
Chill
off
out. Don't play
topic.
with me, bro. Chill
We
out.
off topic.
You're dealing with the wrong one, bro.
Right here, bro.
I
You heard
don't
me?
care nothing about nothing that shit you got to say, bro. You might as well take me
Hello?
off this shit, bro.
We here. You can't out
Leave
talk
me
me.
alone, bro.
You might can out rap me, but you can't out talk me.
Don't nobody want to go to Club Shay Shay. Nobody want to buy no VIP tickets to that shit. Nobody rushing to go to that shit.
Biggest
You ain't got
podcast
nothing
you ever
lit
been
in
on.
Club Shay Shay.
Hey,
If
If
you got
you
a good
fortunate, you get
podcast,
an invite.
But what was supposed to be a tough guy moment turned into a straight-up disaster. Jim's gym flex backfired hard. Fans flooded the comments calling him out, saying he had wheelchair legs and clowning him for begging for clout at almost 50 years old. Some even said he looked like he was auditioning for a fitness infomercial, not a rap battle. And as for Nas, he did kinda respond, but we'll get to that in a sec. First, let's talk about why this whole thing can't even be called a beef. It's basically a one-man war that only Jim Jones is still fighting. See, this goes all the way back to 2003 when Cameron and the rest of Dipset, Jim included, kept taking jabs at Nas on mixtapes and in radio freestyles. But even then, Nas didn't take the bait. He stayed cool and kept it pushing. Fast forward to 2005. An old clip resurfaced showing Nas casually brushing off Jim, saying he wasn't even worth getting into it with. He literally said nobody's checking for Jim and he's never made anyone nervous with his rhymes.
Like, if it was like Jim Jones, imagine putting a pen to paper to write about him. He was so nice. He was so nice about him. How did you do that? What's the first sentence? What the fuck do you write about him? I'm not anxious to hear the Jim Jones diss record. Like, I'm like, yo, the niggas that used to have a nigga a little nervous was like B.I.G., Pop. Right. Even Cannabis, like Eminem, the niggas used to have you like, if we go at it, dog, we gotta go hard. You know what I'm saying? But these niggas like a Jim Jones, like I mean, I respect you getting your money. You're like, exactly, right?
But MC-wise, you're not respecting his lyrical game right now.
I respect his hustle. I respect his hustle. That's about it.
Brr. Then in 2006, Nas dropped Hip Hop Is Dead, an album that had a bunch of rap vets feeling salty. But no one took it more personally than Jim Jones. He even went off in an interview with SOHH.com saying he'd slap Nas. He added, "I like Nas's new song. I'll still slap the holy living." Well, you know what he said. Jim Jones wasn't holding back at all, even while admitting he liked Nas's new track. He said, "That Where My Gangstas At joint, that ish kinda slick." He gave Nas a little props, saying he had some bars on it, but then immediately followed it with, "I'd still punch him in the mouth if I had to." Like, what? Meanwhile, Nas was moving real quiet, staying far away from all the drama, but Jim, he just wouldn't let up. In October 2008, during an interview with Rhapsody.com, Jim came out swinging again. He said, "F Nas, I don't give an F about Nas," then went on to call him a washed-up rapper who lost his spark.
I actually reached out to Nas to actually,
Whoa!
I'm doing my shit right now because I really want him to get on this record. Nah, but we still got a bunch of mutual friends and shit like that. I actually reached out to Nas. I actually sent him the record. I got a response from him, not personally, but through the friends like that. Gave him my number. I was told, like he said, he wanted to holler at me and shit like that he liked the record. That was what I was told.
But it didn't stop there. Jim brought up a so-called awkward moment that went down at a Ferrari dealership. According to him, he had a run-in with Nas and Dame Dash. Jim claimed Nas didn't even know how to react. He said, "Dame saw me and started talking. I was laid back on the couch laughing. Nas didn't know what to do. I was looking dead at him." Then he added that Dame started stuttering, trying to make peace, and called Dame burnt out, saying neither of them were really thinking about that frivolous stuff. But here's the real twist. After all that, Jim had the nerve to say Nas was never on his level. He repeated it over and over. For the most part, Nas was never on my level. Ever. Ever. Yet Jim's the one still talking, still throwing shade, still bringing up old run-ins from years ago. He kept claiming he didn't care about the drama, but he's the one keeping it alive, all while Nas stays silent, barely acknowledging any of it. So after 2008, the so-called beef between Jim Jones and Nas pretty much disappeared. No more public jabs, no more interviews. It went quiet. And for a minute, it actually looked like Jim was turning over a new leaf. He started showing Nas respect, calling him a legend, and even admitted he reached out trying to get a collab going. But guess what? Nas didn't even respond. Not a peep. Even wilder. Jim admitted that Nas had always been one of his favorite rappers and a major influence. He said it straight up. And even after getting ignored, Jim kept chasing that dream feature. He was out here publicly calling Nas the GOAT, practically begging for a verse.
Of everything besides Dipset, whatever, before Dipset, just want to put that on the record. Like, Nas was absolutely one of my favorite rappers of all time. From when he did the barbecue when we was in high school, walking through those hallways, we felt like he was him and like we was him. And, you know, once you get into the pros, you know what it is, and you ain't on the same team. But I would love to do a record with him, as him being one of my favorites of all time. I think that's bucket list material for me.
Word.
So, you know, we'll see what happens.
Fast forward to now, and Jim's doing a total 180, acting like he doesn't even know Nas, downplaying his legacy and throwing shade like they were never cool. It's got folks online laughing hard, saying whoever gassed Jim up to think he could wrap circles around Nas is definitely not his friend. Meanwhile, Nas is staying way above all this noise. He's living that Hall of Fame life. Nothing to prove, no reason to clap back. And Jim, he's looking like that veteran player still hustling for his first championship ring, while Nas already got the trophies and the respect. But just when Jim thought he was holding the mic, Nas hit him with a move so smooth, It didn't need a single lyric. On June 21st, Nas posted a picture on Instagram, sitting at dinner with LeBron James, Draymond Green, and a table full of powerful black CEOs. That post, it said everything without saying a word. The vibe was clear. You can't sit with us. And fans ate it up. The comments were going crazy, people calling it the ultimate non-response. One fan wrote, "This is how you silence a one-hit wonder." Another said, "Sometimes silence is louder than anything." Others pointed out that Nas never entertains mess like this because, let's be real, he doesn't have to. And if anyone forgot who Nas is, just remember his bar. It's rare I listen to dudes who never been in my position. A caterpillar can't relate to what an eagle envisions. Straight facts. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment letting us know whose side you're on. And don't forget to hit that bell so you never miss the drama. See you on the next one.